Hello, friends from across the nation and around the world. I'm Martin, and you are listening to Dad's Bedtime Stories. It's become a bit of a weekend tradition to do a compilation episode on a Saturday, and I thought, what better than Cards of Power for this compilation episode? Or, even better than that, the Cards of Power novel. That's right, today I'm going to put together the first few chapters of the Cards of Power novel, and if you're interested in it, I've been finishing this novel on a different podcast called Dad's Anytime Stories. So if you like what you're hearing and you want to hear the rest of the story, you can go check that out. Dad's Anytime Stories, available anywhere you get your podcasts. The logo looks kind of similar, except it's blue. And yeah, that's about all I have for you today. So we'll start with the story after a special word from a possible sponsor. Now it's time to close your eyes, get as comfy as you can in that bed, and imagine yourself doing what the kid in the story does. Chapter 1: Choosing Day. Carter woke to the soft light of the morning and a single, undeniable thought. Today was choosing day. It was the day that every young person in the land waited for, the day they received their very first magic card. And for Carter, it was finally his turn. The possibilities filled his mind, even before he left his bed. What kind of card would he get? Maybe one that let him fly, or one that granted super strength? Perhaps something rarer, like a magical companion or a creature he could summon in battle. Every card was different, and each one had its own unique magic. He jumped out of bed, rushed through breakfast, and dressed faster than he ever had before. With hardly a glance at the clock, he darted out the door and made his way straight to the center of town, where the ceremony would take place. A group of children had already gathered, some talking nervously, others standing quietly, all of them filled with anticipation. Carter found a spot among them, his heart beating fast. Then the crowd parted, and a tall wizard stepped forward. He wore long robes and carried a heavy wooden staff topped with a glowing gem. His beard flowed down to his chest, and he had the kind of presence that made people stop and listen. "Welcome, young ones," the wizard said. His voice was calm and deep. "Today is an important day. Today you become card holders." The group erupted in cheer. "But before you can receive a card," the wizard continued, "you must be given your card core." Carter hadn't heard of this part before. "A card core is what allows you to store and activate your cards," the wizard explained. "It becomes part of you, deep inside your being, and lets you connect with the magic you collect." The wizard stepped forward and tapped his staff on the stone ground 3 times. A soft light bloomed from the gem at the top, and a collection of glowing orbs floated out from it, one for each child. Carter watched as the orb nearest to him drifted forward. It stopped just in front of his chest, then gently moved toward him. As it touched his skin, a tingling sensation passed through his body, followed by a warm, steady glow that spread through his arms and legs. Something had changed. He could feel it, as though a new sense had been added. Something quiet but powerful. Something that hadn't been there before. The core is also what allows you to create new cards, the wizard said. When you explore the world, you'll come across wild magic, creatures, forces, sometimes even storms of pure energy. If you learn to understand them, and if you have the strength of will, you can capture that magic and form it into a card of your own. Carter listened carefully. It sounded exciting, but also a little overwhelming. He was supposed to go out into the woods and find wild creatures and magic and just turn them into cards? Still, this was the way things were done. And now, the wizard said, smiling, it's time to choose your first card. With a wave of his hand, a spread of cards floated into the air and hovered above the crowd. They grew larger, clear enough to read, each one with its own illustration and description. Carter looked up and scanned through them. There were cards that granted flight, swift wings that looked like energy made solid. Others gave strength or healing powers or armor formed from rock or metal. And then there were the creature cards, magical companions known as pet cards. That is where Carter's eyes stopped. Each pet card featured a different kind of creature. One had sharp spines and an icy breath. Another was covered in vines and moss, able to summon plants at will. A few looked like birds or cats or strange floating things with glowy eyes. But one card stood out. It showed a small, dark-scaled dragonling with glowing red veins running down its limbs and across its wings. Its description was simple. Fire dragonling. Primary ability, fire breath. But Carter didn't choose it for the ability. Something about it just felt right. He couldn't explain why, but he believed it could become something powerful. Maybe not right away, but someday. You there, the wizard called out. It's your turn. Which card will you choose? Carter stepped forward. I choose the fire dragonling. Oh, a fine choice, the wizard said with a nod. The card rose up in the air, sparks flickering along its edges. At the same time, Carter's card core began to glow. As the card floated towards him, the sparks grew brighter. And then, with a sudden flash, the card shot forward and merged with his core. He could feel it. The fire dragonling was now a part of him. He could sense it in the same way he sensed his arms or legs. A living presence, waiting just beneath the surface. One by one, the other children made their selections until all had received their cards. Very good, said the wizard. Now, go out and explore the world, but do be careful. Many cardholders believe they can rely on only duels to find their way, but if you ask me, dueling is a foolish path. Carter frowned. Duels? What were duels? Before he could ask, he turned and accidentally bumped into someone standing behind him. There was a thud, a yelp, and then a loud splash. Carter looked down in horror. The man he'd bumped into had fallen face first into a pile of dog poop. The crowd burst out laughing. The man, however, did not. I challenge you, the man snapped, rising to his feet with a face full of anger and unfortunate smells. To a duel. Carter froze. A duel? The man stared at him, still brushing the poop off of his face. The crowd had mostly stopped laughing, but a few giggles lingered in the air, like unwanted background music. Before Carter could say anything, the wizard's voice rang out again. Oh yes, he said. I forgot to explain about duels. Knew I should have read the whole script. Anyways, your card core allows you to accept duels with other card holders. But be warned, once you accept, you're bound by the rules of the match. Whatever terms you agree to, you must follow. Carter turned back to the man, who was clearly still furious and still a little smelly. I say we play for cards, the man growled. Winner gets their choice of card from the loser's deck. Carter's mind raced. That seemed like a terrible idea. He hadn't even had time to figure out how his own card worked yet. Okay, he said without thinking. Immediately, a voice echoed in the sky. Duel accepted. What do you mean, duel accepted? Carter asked the sky, or perhaps the magical system that governed duels. You said, okay, the voice replied. It sounded faintly smug. Carter sighed, but then a thought struck him. The one who accepted the duel set the terms. That was something at least. My terms, he said quickly, are 1 card each, 1-on-1. The angry man grumbled. Terms accepted. Light began to pulse from both of their cores. Carter took a breath and focused inward. He could feel the fire dragonling card waiting just beneath his awareness. All he had to do was call it forward. A bright beam of light shot from his core, and the fire dragonling appeared in front of him. It was smaller than he expected, about the size of a house cat, with smooth black scales streaked with glowing red lines. Its wings fluttered as it landed softly on the ground, looking up at Carter with wide eyes and what might have been mild amusement. Dragonling, attack! Carter called out. The dragonling blinked. Then it sat down, licked its paw, and casually wiped it across the top of its head. It looked remarkably unconcerned. The crowd chuckled again. Haven't done much training, have ya? The man said. He smirked and then called out. I summon my body of stone card. A deep rumble echoed through the air as the man's core glowed. Light burst forth and wrapped around his body, hardening into thick, jagged stone. It formed a suit of granite-like armor, covering him from head to toe. With a grunt, The man reached down and punched the earth. He lifted a massive sphere of rock from the ground, perfectly round and clearly very heavy. He raised it above his head and aimed directly for Carter. The fire dragonling looked up at the man, sighed. Carter was almost sure it was a sigh anyways, and then opened its mouth. A blast of fire erupted. Not a spark, not a puff. A full column of flame burst out, hot and wild and roaring like a dragon 10 times its size. The fire struck the stone-covered man with force, and the granite armor began to glow red. Then it cracked. Then it exploded. The man flew backward through the air and landed flat on his back with a thud. There was a long pause. The crowd stared in stunned silence. Then, once again, the mysterious voice returned. Battle 1. Choose 1 card. Carter's eyes widened. He watched as the man's card core lit up. From it, a series of floating lights emerged, each one transforming into a glowing card, suspended in the air like options on a magical menu. Carter stepped forward and read through the cards carefully. There were a few healing cards, a couple of defensive ones, but one caught his eye. Power wings. According to the description, the card would grant him a pair of wings made of pure energy. They'd let him fly through the sky like a jet, hover in midair, and even perform some aerial maneuvers. He reached for it. As soon as his fingers touched the card, sparks flickered around its edges. His core appeared again, glowing brighter this time. The card dissolved into energy and flowed into his chest. Immediately, he could feel it. A second card, a second presence inside him, just waiting to be activated. He didn't wait. Carter focused on the new card and with a single thought, triggered its power. A tingling sensation ran down his back, then 2 glowing blue wings of pure energy unfolded from his shoulders, stretching out wide and humming gently. He rose into the air without effort. The sensation was unlike anything he'd ever felt. He wasn't just floating, he was flying. Really flying. The wings responded to his thoughts, forward, backward, left, right. He moved in perfect sync, as if he had been flying his entire life. He tested them, spinning and looping through the sky. Then, with a burst of curiosity, he imagined flying faster. He shot forward faster and faster, wind whipping past his face. Trees blurred below him. He felt the pressure build, and then, suddenly, boom. A sharp crack echoed through the sky. He'd just broken the sound barrier. Eyes wide, Carter slowed down and hovered, scanning the land below until he spotted the familiar rooftops of home. He angled his wings and descended, landing gently in front of the door. With a thought, he reabsorbed the wings into his core. They shimmered once and disappeared. Back inside, everything felt strangely quiet. His body was tired, more tired than he expected. The duel, the flight, the weight of the day, it had all caught up with him. He climbed into bed and pulled the covers up over his shoulders. His muscles relaxed, his breathing slowed. Carter let himself fall asleep. Chapter 2: Magnus the Dragonling. Carter woke up with a strange feeling. Not the kind of strange that comes from forgetting what day it is, or realizing you left the window open overnight. This was something deeper. A low rumbling sensation, like a stomach ache that had gotten confused and ended up in the wrong part of his body. It wasn't his stomach, though. It was his card core. Something inside it was shaking. He reached inward with his mind, and sure enough, the sensation was coming from his Fire Dragonling card. It felt like the little guy was trying to break free. Carter summoned the card, and it materialized in front of him as a large, glowing rectangle. The illustration of the Fire Dragonling stared back at him, magma veins glowing across its dark, scaled body. The card began to shake, hard. Carter hesitated for a moment, then let it do what it needed to do. The card exploded into a beam of light, and when the glow faded, the Fire Dragonling stood in his room, small, dark, and oddly adorable. It stared at him with glinting eyes, then calmly licked the back of its paw and ran it over the top of its head. "Well, thanks for finally letting me out of there," the Dragonling said casually. Carter blinked. You can talk?" "Of course I can talk. How do you think I'm talking to ya?" "Right, good point," Carter murmured, still processing. "Can all magical creatures talk?" "No, depends on their intelligence level," the Dragonling replied. "And I am very intelligent." Carter opened his mouth to respond, but only managed a, "What? Huh?" The Dragonling raised an eyebrow, or would have if it had eyebrows. "Let me explain," it said. "You're not the first person to choose me as their companion. In fact, I've been through this twice already. But I've never evolved, not once. So people keep thinking I'm just a beginner card and putting me back into the pool for the next choosing day." Carter stared. "Wait, what? How does that even work?" "Well," the Dragonling said, settling into the story, "the first time I picked, it was this really angry kid. He just wanted to fight everything. And that's exactly what we did. We tore through the beginner area, fought wild magics left and right. I got stronger fast. Then we reached the intermediate and advanced zones, and he started using me less and less. Eventually, he traded me in." The Dragonling's voice flattened slightly. "And then I ended up in a wizard's pocket." Carter didn't know what to say. "The second kid was a bookworm," the Dragonling went on. "Always researching, always reading. Took me everywhere, but rarely used me. I got smarter, even learned how to talk from that one, but no evolution. Eventually, he traded me too. And then came you." "Oh," Carter said, unsure whether to feel honored or sorry. "Well, nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too. But if we're gonna work together, we need to set some ground rules." Sure," Carter said. "Like what?" "First," the dragonling said, flicking its tail, "I don't want to be stuck inside that cart all the time. It's fine for naps, but it gets cramped and honestly, it feels a bit like prison." Carter nodded. "I can do that." "Second," the dragonling continued, "I'm not your servant. I can be your friend, and trust me, with my knowledge and power, that's a pretty good deal." "That's fair," Carter said. "I don't want a servant. The reason I picked a magical creature card was because I always wanted a little magical creature as a friend. The fact that you can talk, that's even better than I expected." The dragonling stared at him for a moment, then gave a satisfied nod. "Well then, I guess it's time we got moving." What do you suggest we do first?" Carter asked. "Well, we need to head to Beginner Forest," the dragonling said. "That's where you'll find wild magic and creatures that are actually at your level. I'm way past that, obviously, but you'll catch up." Carter grinned. "I think there's a beginner forest nearby. Let's go." "Oh, and by the way," Carter added, "do you have a name, or should I just keep calling you Fire Dragonling?" The dragonling paused. No human has ever asked me that before. My name is Magnus." "Magnus it is," Carter said. "Let's go." The two of them headed outside. As soon as they reached an open area, Carter reached inward again, focusing on the card that granted him flight. The Power Wings card. A surge of energy passed through his body, and with a tingling sensation in his shoulder blades, glowing wings burst from his back. They lifted him gently off the ground. Do you need a ride?" Carter asked, glancing at Magnus. "Or do those little wings of yours actually work?" "I can't believe you'd ask such a thing," Magnus huffed. "I don't need a ride from a human." With rapid wing beats, more like a hummingbird than a dragon, Magnus lifted off the ground and zipped into the sky. "Follow me," he called. Carter took off after him, the wings responding instantly to his thoughts. They soared higher, leaving Carter's house far behind as they crossed forests and fields. Magnus guided them into a mountainous region until the trees below became spaced out and the terrain opened into wide meadows surrounded by rocky peaks. "This," Magnus said, circling down, "is one of my favorite beginner areas." They landed in what looked like a trailhead parking lot, complete with a small log cabin and a wide wooden gate. A sign arched above in bold letters, "Beginner Forest." They passed through the gates and followed a winding path. Other card holders, most of them around Carter's age, had already set up campsites nearby. Some were dueling each other, others faced off against wild magic and magical creatures. Some card holders wielded personal power, lightning from their fingertips, bursts of fire, icy wind. Others relied on summoned creatures to do the battling. Up ahead, something sparked. A cluster of people ran towards Carter and Magnus, eyes wide with panic. "Do not go in there," one of them shouted. "That thing is way too strong for this area." Carter looked past them and saw bolts of lightning flashing in the distance. Another cry rang out. Do you think we should go battle that thing?" Carter asked. "I'd have no problem," Magnus replied. "It's you I'm worried about. You don't even have protection against lightning." I should have picked armor instead of wings, Carter muttered. Actually, Magnus said, your wings might be just what we need. Follow me. Without another word, he shot into the sky. Carter summoned his wings again and followed. They flew high above the mountains. To protect against that lightning creature, you need one of two things, Magnus explained. Rubber armor, which is useless against almost anything else, or rock armor. Rock grounds electricity and has the added bonus of looking very cool. Okay, where do we find rock armor? There's a lot of wild magic around here, Magnus said. Most beginners can't fly, so some of the magic goes untouched. We'll find something. As they passed over a peak, Carter spotted it, an unusual pile of stones, shifting and reshaping itself far below. There, Magnus said. Exactly what we need. They landed a short distance away. Do we attack it? Carter asked. We could, Magnus said, but this one seems calm. Try to win it over. Approach slowly. Let it sense you. Wild magics can feel your emotions. Stay calm. Send good energy. Carter nodded and walked forward, extending his arm. He focused on peaceful thoughts, curiosity, friendliness, a desire for connection. The rock creature shifted as he approached. First it formed a Stonehenge-like circle, then it coiled into a rock serpent, then a pile of balanced boulders. Finally, it gathered itself into a large stone formation and bowed. You've done it, Magnus said. Now, reach out, focus on the energy, and imagine it forming into a card. Carter closed his eyes. He could feel the strength of the card, grounded, unshakable. He pictured that energy forming into a glowing card in his hand. Light gathered into a sphere in his palm, growing brighter and brighter. The creature dissolved into the light, which flattened into a single card. Rock armor. This card allows you to merge with stone. At the beginner level, you can summon rock armor to protect your body. As your bond deepens, your control will grow. Carter held up the card. Merge with stone, huh? I wonder what that could do. He activated it. The card burst into light and wrapped around his body, forming thick, jagged armor. He felt unstoppable. Nearby, a tree grew from the rocky soil. Carter walked over, grabbed the trunk, and without much effort, ripped it out of the ground. He spun it once over his head and hurled it into the sky. The tree arced and then disappeared into the forest far below. Whoa, the armor was perfect. We'll deal with that lightning creature tomorrow, Carter said, looking up at the setting sun. Time to find a place to sleep. Back at the forest gate, Magnus suggested he release the armor. It shimmered back into a card and returned to his core. Carter summoned his wings one more time. He and Magnus flew above the mountains and gently descended to the log cabin near the entrance. Inside, a clerk handed him a key without a word. It read Room 3. He found the door, unlocked it, stepped inside with Magnus close behind. The room was simple: bunk beds, a small desk, and quiet. Magnus curled up on the bed and began licking his paws again. His purring was soft and steady. Carter climbed into the bed, pulled the covers over himself, and closed his eyes. Chapter 3: The Lightning Rabbit. Carter awoke to the soft rustle of movement. Across the room, Magnus, his fire dragonling, stretched with a contented sigh. After learning that Magnus didn't particularly enjoy being trapped in his cart all night, Carter had let him stay out, curled up like a warm, purring rock lizard beside the bed. He climbed out of bed and opened the door to their small guest cabin. The scent of breakfast met him immediately. Eggs, toast, something vaguely maple-ish, all in the main lodge. A full buffet had been set up, complete with cereal, fruit, and an impressive variety of pastries. Carter grabbed a plate and began collecting food. As he sat at the table, Magnus landed in the seat across from him, balancing a full plate on top of his head. With a deft swipe of his paw, he slid it onto the table. They began eating in comfortable silence until Carter looked up. "Magnus, can I ask you something?" "Sure," Magnus replied, his snout halfway into a croissant. "In school, they taught us the basics about getting our first card, how the forests work, how to level up and get stronger. But how does it actually work?" Magnus wiped a few crumbs off of his chin. "Ah, that's a good question. All right, here's the rundown." He sat back, looking uncharacteristically serious. "Most of the places humans live these days are completely safe. Hardly any wild magic left. But the forests, they're different. They're full of wild creatures and powerful magical energy. Some forests are more dangerous than others." Carter nodded, already sensing where this was going. "In the old days, the Wizards' Council let adventurers go wherever they wanted," Magnus continued. "Beginner or expert, didn't really matter. You could waltz into a high-level forest if you felt like it." "What happened?" Carter asked. "Well, a lot of adventurers didn't come back," Magnus said bluntly. "So now, each forest is surrounded by a magical barrier. No one gets in or out, except through the official gates." "I didn't know that." "Most people don't," Magnus said. "And here's the important part. If you want to move to the next level, you've got to defeat a guardian. Card holders tasked with battling challengers to ensure they're ready. They're powerful, sure, but their job isn't to destroy. They're just there to make sure you're ready." Carter looked thoughtful. "So, we should probably work on getting stronger." "Exactly," Magnus said, polishing off a muffin. "Let's get to it." They left the cabin and headed back into the beginner forest. The trees were tall and bright in the morning sun, and Carter could hear birds chirping somewhere high above. "I was thinking," he said, "now that I've got the rock armor, maybe we could check out that lightning creature from yesterday." "I was thinking the same thing," Magnus said. "If I had to guess, it's probably a lightning rabbit or something similar." Carter raised an eyebrow. "Are they hard to fight?" "Oh, definitely, for most people," Magnus said with a confident grin. "Not for me, though." Carter was still getting used to Magnus's unshakable self-assurance. They followed a dirt path deeper into the woods until they reached an area where bolts of lightning had been flashing the day before. As they approached, another adventurer ran past them, smoke trailing from the edges of their cloak. Carter turned to Magnus. "I think it's time for the rock armor." He reached inward, feeling the card in his core. It appeared before him, glowing with power. As he activated it, the card dissolved into energy and wrapped around him, solidifying into stone. He stood tall, encased in powerful rock. Arms, legs, hands, everything. The armor didn't just feel like protection. It felt like strength itself. He stepped forward, the ground shaking slightly with each footfall. Around a bend in the trail, the trees opened into a clearing. In the center of it sat a small bunny. Adorable, really, except its eyes were sparking with electricity. The rabbit turned towards them and growled. It began to charge, its legs twitching with energy. Then it launched into the air, surrounded by a sphere of crackling lightning. With a flash, the electricity shot forward. Carter crossed his arms just in time. The lightning struck him, but his rock armor absorbed it completely, the energy flowing down through the stone and discharging harmlessly into the earth. "So this is what you meant about grounding," Carter said, impressed. "Exactly," Magnus replied. "Now, let me give it a shot." Magnus flew into the air and began circling the rabbit. The rabbit fired bolts of lightning in every direction. Magnus twisted through the air, rolling left, dodging right, even looping in midair like a dancer with wings. Then he dropped to the ground and faced the rabbit. The two stared each other down. Sparks danced across the rabbit's fur. Smoke curled up from Magnus's nostrils. They both charged. At the last moment, the rabbit leapt into the air and fired a bolt of lightning. Magnus swiped it aside with a paw, rolled 3 times midair, and blasted a stream of fire from his mouth. But the rabbit summoned a shimmering shield of electrical energy. The fire hit it and fizzled out. The two faced each other again. "This one's better than I expected," Magnus admitted. "I might actually need your help. I need a distraction." Carter was already scanning the area. He spotted a large boulder buried in the ground nearby. "On it," he said. He ran to the rock, drove his stone fingers into its surface, and ripped it up from the earth. With a deep breath, he hurled the boulder towards the rabbit. This rock armor was pretty amazing. It landed with a crash just beside the creature, startling it and sending it leaping sideways. The rabbit's focus shifted to Carter, and it fired another bolt of lightning. Carter braced himself, and again, the energy was grounded by the armor. Meanwhile, Magnus shot into the air again. Circling the clearing, he opened his mouth and released a stream of fire, which formed itself into a ring surrounding the rabbit. The flames rose higher and higher, glowing brighter and hotter. The rabbit spun in all directions, bolts of lightning flying outward, but the fire hemmed it in, closing tighter. The rabbit stumbled, then, with a final weak spark, it collapsed on the ground, still breathing, but unconscious. Magnus extinguished the fire. Smoke rose gently from the scorched earth. "Now it's your turn," Magnus said, hovering beside Carter. Carter approached the rabbit. His stone feet thudded softly on the earth. He knelt beside it and released the armor, watching as it dissolved back into the card and returned to his core. He reached out with his hand, focusing inward. The rabbit's energy was different. Fast, sharp, tingly. He imagined it gathering in his palm. A soft glow appeared. It grew brighter, forming into a ball of light and sparks that hovered just above his skin. The rabbit disappeared completely as the energy coalesced into a single storm-like sphere. Carter focused again. The energy flattened and solidified, forming a floating card with a glowing border and a familiar image on its face. Lightning Rabbit. His core lit up. The car flew into it, becoming a new part of him. A new sense he could feel, control, and one day, master. The clearing grew quiet. "Good job, kid," Magnus said. They spent the rest of the day exploring the forest, watching battles, talking to other adventurers, and discovering new paths. As evening approached, Carter felt the weight of the day settle into his limbs. He summoned the Power Wings card one more time. With a gentle hum, the wings appeared, lifting him smoothly into the air. Magnus let out a long yawn as they reached the treetops near the edge of the beginner area. I hate to admit it," he muttered, "but I'm exhausted. Carrying all that coolness around really takes it out of you." Carter smiled. "Want me to return you to the card for the ride back?" Magnus hesitated, then gave a tiny nod. "All right, just this once, but don't get used to it." Carter chuckled and summoned Magnus back into his card form. The little dragonling shimmered into light and vanished, returning to the warmth of the card core for a well-earned rest. Carter flew quietly through the air, watching the sunlight fade from the treetops. He followed the trail back to the lodge, opened the familiar door, and climbed the stairs to his room. Key in hand, he found the door marked 3, entered, and closed it behind him. Sleep came quickly. Chapter 4: A New Ally. Carter woke up in his bed. The sunlight streamed in through the window, casting soft golden lines across the floor. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, and glanced around the room. Everything was just as he'd left it. But then he felt something. A tapping. Not on his shoulder or the door, but deep inside him, from his card core, the place where all of his magical cards were stored. He focused on the sensation. The tapping was coming from the Fire Dragonling card. Magnus wanted out. Carter reached inward, summoned the card, and watched as it appeared before him, glowing with energy. The light shifted, reshaped, and then formed into the small black-scaled dragon with glowing magma veins. You finally let me out of there," Magnus said, stretching. "It was getting pretty cramped." Good morning to you too, Magnus," Carter replied with a smirk. "What do you think we should do today?" "Well," Magnus said, "I think we should do the same thing we do every day. Head back to the beginner training area and try to get more power." "All right," Carter said. "I guess we can do that." After breakfast, Carter stepped onto his front lawn. He closed his eyes and reached for the Power Wings card inside his core. A tingling passed through his body, followed by a shiver up his spine. In a flash of light, 2 glowing wings burst from his shoulder blades. He hovered gently off the ground, and Magnus flapped his smaller wings, lifting off beside him. Together they soared into the sky, passing over rooftops, city blocks, highways, and forests, until the familiar wildlands came into view once again. For now, Carter was only allowed in the beginner area, The other regions remained off limits until he gained enough power to defeat one of the gatekeepers, but that was a problem for another time. As they neared the forest, Carter noticed something new, a glowing dome surrounding the area like a massive protective bubble. "That must be the magic that keeps everything else out," he said. "Yep," Magnus replied. "That's exactly right." They landed outside the beginner area in the familiar dirt lot beside the small wooden chalet. After passing the hotel-style lodge, they followed the winding forest trail into the woods. They moved past familiar paths and landmarks, areas Carter had already explored. So far, he'd collected the rock armor, the lightning rabbit, the wing card, and, of course, Magnus. But he was still hoping to find something new, maybe a water type to round out his deck. Eventually, they reached a new area, one Carter hadn't seen before. A broad clearing opened up in front of them, dotted with lakes and ponds of every size. Other card holders were already battling creatures in the water, magic flashing and splashing across the surface. Carter scanned the area, hopeful. Then Magnus stopped in midair. His expression changed. "Hey, I think I know that guy," he said, pointing toward the largest lake. In the center, a blue dragonling hovered above the water. It looked a lot like Magnus. Same shape, same wings, but its scales were shimmering blue instead of black, and its energy radiated cold instead of heat. The dragonling was engaged in a fierce battle with a massive water serpent, trading blasts of water that struck with the force of a fire hose, but neither seemed to be doing much damage. The blue dragonling changed tactics. It flew high into the air, summoned a cluster of water, shaped it into jagged ice spikes, and hurled them at the serpent. The spikes hit directly, but still did little to affect the beast. Magnus shook his head. "Oh man, you can't fight water type with a water type and expect much. They're basically immune, and ice attacks barely tickle. Also, I'm sure I know that dragon." "You do?" Carter asked. "I think so," Magnus said, "and it looks like he needs help." "But aren't fire types weak against water types?" "Yeah," Magnus said, "but at least I can do something. Watch this." Magnus shot toward the lake with incredible speed. As he reached the edge, he opened his mouth and sprayed a wide plume of fire, circling the entire area in a spinning blaze. He flew in tight loops, creating a wall of fire that surrounded the lake. Then he flew above it, focused his energy downward, and the fire grew hotter, higher, more intense. The heat became so powerful that the surface of the lake began to evaporate, steam rising into the sky in thick clouds. Carter watched in awe. When the flames died down, the lake had nearly vanished, leaving the dragonling and the serpent standing in a muddy, steamy basin. "Now," Magnus said, "watch this." He summoned a cluster of fireballs, spinning them around his head before launching them into a wave. Each fireball exploded against the serpent's body, sending plumes of flame into the air. At the same time, the blue dragonling flew high, wings humming with energy. Then it shot forward, streaking through the sky with one fist extended. It slammed into the serpent's head with a thud, sending the creature crashing to the ground, knocked out but unharmed. Then a voice called out from nearby, "Good job, Aisling!" Carter turned and blinked. Standing beside him was something he'd never expected to see outside of textbooks. An evolved Tyrannosaurus Rex wearing the robes of a card holder. "My name is Rex," the dinosaur said, extending a massive clawed hand. "Nice to meet you." Carter hesitated, then shook the hand 3 times, just like a normal greeting. "Nice to meet you too," he said. "That dragonling of yours, it looks a lot like mine." Magnus flew down and landed on Carter's shoulder, while the blue dragonling did the same with Rex. "Oh, where are you from anyways?" Magnus asked. "You look familiar." "That's because we grew up together," the blue dragonling said with perfect clarity. Carter's eyes widened. "You can talk?" "Of course I can," the dragonling replied. "I'm a very smart dragon, just like Magnus. Although, if I were really smart, I wouldn't be with this meanie." "Don't listen to him," Rex said quickly. "I'm not a meanie. I am the nicest owner he's ever had, and he better remember it." Something about Rex's tone made Carter uneasy. "Say," Rex added, "would you be up for a battle?" "You mean like a duel?" Carter asked. "Yes, exactly," Rex said. "Winner gets 1 card." Carter hesitated. "I mean, I guess I'll duel you if I get to set the terms." "Very well, set your terms," Rex agreed. 1 card each. Winner gets 1 card from the loser's deck. Deal?" "Accepted," Rex replied. Carter's core pulsed with light. The dual contract had been made, and the terms were binding. "I'll go first," Rex said. "Aisling, attack!" The blue dragonling flew into the air, gathering streams of water into a swirling vortex around him, a miniature tornado of water. "Let me guess," Rex laughed. "You forgot I have a water type, and you've got a fire type." Carter smirked. "Yeah, but I didn't say I was using Magnus." He reached inward again, feeling for the card with the electrical tingle. The lightning rabbit card rose to the surface, and he summoned it into the air. The little rabbit appeared, already sparkling. Carter nodded. "Lightning bunny, attack!" The rabbit began to crackle. Sparks turned to arcs. Then, with a high leap, it launched a massive ball of lightning directly into the swirling water. Electricity exploded through the vortex, traveling along every strand of water, straight into Aisling. The dragonling spasmed, then dropped from the sky and landed softly on the grass. The voice, strange voice that came from nowhere, returned. "Winner, choose your card." Rex's chest lit up, and his deck fanned out in front of Carter, images and names displayed like holograms. "So many options," Carter muttered. "Hey," Magnus whispered, "get that Aisling guy away from this weirdo. He seems all right, but Rex, I'm not so sure." Carter nodded. "Good point, and we could use a water and ice type." He reached out and selected the card with Aisling's image. Water/ice dragonling. Accepted. The card shot out from Rex's deck and flew into Carter's core, merging with it. A new sensation formed, cold, powerful, and sharp. "Well played," Rex said, turning away. "Perhaps we'll meet again." "Maybe," Carter replied, watching him disappear into the trees. Satisfied, he summoned his wings once again. Magnus returned to his perch on Carter's shoulder, and they rose into the air, floating gently back towards the forest's entrance. At the lodge, Carter checked in. The attendant handed him the room 3 key once again. He unlocked the door, stepped inside, and found the same cozy bunk beds waiting. Magnus leapt onto the bottom bunk, curled up, and began his usual grooming routine, licking a paw, rubbing his head, then settling down with a soft purr. Carter followed, slipping into bed beside him. He let his head rest on the pillow, letting his breathing slow.